Hi everyone, today we have Matt from Unit Sydney to discuss with me, Kat at The Artist Hustle, the importance of fueling your week. And I think this is a conversation that gets ignored a little bit because in our industry, let's be real for a moment, looks, appearances play a part in you getting the gigs. And I want to break some myths down around the importance of fueling your week because I think without having the right nutrition, you're not going to be able to be your best version of yourself for whatever reason. But let's quickly go into that, Matt, and just pass on your thoughts on that.
It's understanding how many calories or fuel that you would need to sustain your day-to-day life. And if you are a very active person or a very sedentary person, what you consume takes a massive impact on how you live your life. So if your main goal is to lose some body fat, you'll have to eat less than you're currently burning. If your goal is to put on some size or some muscle, you'll have to eat more than you're currently burning. But in saying that, if you are in a show or in a production and you are not fueling yourself with the right amount of nutrients, your fats, your proteins, your carbs, things get really, really challenging. Mood takes over, tiredness takes over. If tiredness takes over, the chance of you getting sick and injured are definitely up there. So if the importance of fueling your week and understanding what your fuel, because your fuel looks very different to mine, because I'm bigger than you, obviously, takes a lot of more practice. So if you're not in the routine of knowing what's coming in, what's coming out, things get really, really challenging.
Yeah, and I think something to consider for everybody is what you're doing in that particular period of time. So the way in which I would fuel myself right now would be very different to if I was to step into a show 8 times a week, where I'm using my body at a really high level. Maybe it's a very physical show. I'm dancing a lot, I'm singing a lot, cardio's up there. So we have to be very real with the fact that you need more fuel for those moments.
Absolutely, yeah, but the right kind of fuel as well.
Yeah.
People underestimate the importance of protein.
Yes, this is something that I've only just kind of learnt when I was doing the 6-week challenge with you. Was for my body, for example, I needed to have 30 grams of protein. Was it 30 grams?
No.
I'm pretty sure it was 30.
Most meals, yes.
Yeah.
Most meals, but if you think about a whole day gram of protein, it'd be over 100, 120 grams.
That's right, it was 120 per meal though, was different.
Right.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, I'm learning as we go. Anyway, what I found out in those particular meals was that I was not eating enough protein.
Yeah.
And I thought I was having a lot of protein in
yeah.
general, but then when I actually had to break it down, I was like, whoa, I don't have enough.
Yeah.
And so why is protein so important?
Well, it's a major molecule for your body. Your muscles are a huge part of it, are protein molecules. And if you're not putting protein in your system, you're not going to maintain that level of muscle mass or get stronger and prevent injuries as well.
Yeah.
So we work on a split of 40-40-20, so 40% carbohydrates, 40% protein and 20% fats. So if you're not fueling your body with the right amount of nutrients per protein, so say I weigh 95 kilos, I should be eating almost 200 grams of protein. So if you weigh 50 kilos, you're eating 100 grams of protein, roughly. So if you're not doing that, your muscles can't recover. You're not going to get massive, but your muscles need protein molecules to recover. And if you are in a physically active show and you are singing a lot, and the muscles that you need don't have the right amount of protein, you're not going to recover.
So let's just quickly break down what happens to muscles. You use muscles, right? And do they start to...
You tear a fibre, so let's say you do a contraction. So you're doing a bicep curl, you're tearing the muscle fibre during the contraction. The protein molecules helps, and with the recovery of course, helps the muscle recover, but also gain strength. But to gain size, you have to eat a lot more protein than you're burning. It's the same with a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit. So if you're eating more than you're burning, you put on size. If you're eating less than you're burning, you lose body fat. But prioritizing protein, for most of my clients here, or all of my clients, is the main priority. Now the stigma of don't eat carbs is an absolute facade. You have to eat carbohydrates as well. They are a major building block as well. But people, as we just said before, always underestimate the amount of protein you should be eating and the amount of carbs. So you can have both, guys. You can have both.
Yeah, which is great to know. But the problem is what kind of carbs?
There's a lot of different kind of carbs you can have. Everyone kind of reacts differently to carbs, and I know myself personally, I don't need a lot of carbs in my diet, but if you are having carbohydrates, it's more of your complex carbohydrates, your oats and your sweet potatoes and those kind of good things. I'm not saying you can't have breads and sweets and fruits, but in a sense to build muscle and recover, complex carbohydrates are kind of where you want to be. But fruits and vegetables, fruits aren't bad, vegetables are amazing, but at the end of the day, a carbohydrate is a sugar, it's broken down to glycogen and it stores and it burns energy. So a carbohydrate is a carbohydrate, it's just what nutrients benefits does it matter.
And you'd be surprised how many foods do contain carbs as well.
Most things do.
Yeah. So it's easy to blow out sort of that section.
Yeah. And fats as well. People underestimate how many grams of fats are in certain things as well.
Yeah. But the key element I think here is to say to not ignore one area. You have to look at all areas in order for your body to.
It's a circle. What's that from?
Circle of life.
Juice Bigelow. Anyway, I don't know. Getting ahead of ourselves, quoting movies. So the 3 points, your fats, proteins and carbs, they'll have to kind of work in together, but fats have more calories per gram than protein.
Brain food.
Right.
Fats. Your brain needs fats.
It does, yeah.
Continue.
What was I saying? It's understanding how many grams of protein you need, how many grams of carbohydrates and fats. A lot of people talk about a keto diet or fasting or no carbohydrates at all. At the end of the day, it's your decision. Your body reacts differently. Everyone reacts differently to certain things. But if your main goal is to lose body fat, you'll have to be eating less than you're burning. If your main goal is to get stronger, you'll have to eat more than you're actually burning.
Yeah. So something to consider again is if you are incorporating more strength training or more cardio, then naturally you have to fuel your body to coincide with that
Absolutely.
sort of training.
But as we said before in the industry, aesthetics take a huge part in getting the role as well. But once you have the role, you have to be able to survive the 8 shows or survive the 5 shows a week. And if you're not fueling yourself with the right amount of nutrients and recovery food, then by the Sunday when you've been in a calorie deficit for 6 days, things get really, really challenging, really hard. And then the chances of overeating or getting injured because your immune system's down, you have to find that nice balance of knowing what you need as an individual to eat.
Yeah. And let's just quickly delve into the immune system for a second, because not just how you feel, but what you eat affects your immune system as well, right? And so if you're eating foods that aren't great,
not nutrient dense.
Yes, if we're thinking kind of like in the junk food world or stuff that you want to reach out and grab, that's an easy solution. Those sorts of things also play in the gut.
Absolutely.
Rather than giving you, because there's different types of bacteria, right? There's good and bad bacteria.
I mean, they say a calorie is a calorie, which is kind of true. But if you think about, let's say McDonald's cheeseburger, and then you have chicken and salad and vegetables, there's probably, depending on the grams, they're roughly the same amount of calories, but there's a lot more nutrient-dense food in lean meats, vegetables, nuts and seeds than there is in a Big Mac and Coke. So understanding processed foods and trans fats. But if you're having nutrient-dense food, your micronutrients, your magnesium, your zinc, your iron, all those kind of things, they support your immune system. Fats, trans fats, and cholesterol, high in dense foods don't. So it's understanding, I've got to have vegetables, I've got to have vitamins and minerals, fruits, are all good things. They help your immune system, the other things don't. So now understanding what a calorie in, calorie out, and not all calories are made equal.
Yeah, because you just said they're exactly the same, say, in calories. But
calories,
the big difference is what is actually going to fuel you in a positive way.
Plus people, I know as I get older, like the oil in certain things, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, there's certain things I can't eat anymore either. Like I feel really off when I eat the food.
Yeah, and you probably sleep shit too, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And that in itself affects your immune system.
Yeah. I'm not saying like you can drink alcohol. I mean, people drink alcohol, that's fine. But the thing with alcohol is that it affects your sleep. And if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. If you're not recovering, the chances of hurting your voice or doing injury becomes really, really hard. And females need more sleep than men. But if you're not sleeping your 6 to 10 hours a week, your recovery and your muscle growth or your fat loss or your whatever you're working towards gets a lot harder.
Yeah.
So your nutrients and your meals play a massive impact in how you actually sleep.
Yeah, which again affect your immune system.
Right.
And how you show up.
It all coincides.
It all works together, everybody. And so in terms of like supplements, I think something we have to be conscious of is we don't always get everything that we need from food.
We don't.
And sometimes we do need to supplement depending on the individual and what's required. Like what I need is going to be very different to what your body needs because of the circumstances of who we are, genetics, all of that stuff plays a part. So in terms of like, if I was to optimize myself through supplements, and you don't really know me very well, you do, but let's say you don't, what kind of supplements would you suggest if I was incorporating a strength routine and I'm moving into show mode? What do you suggest?
I think most people underestimate how many protein grams they are having. So the main supplement that I prescribe my clients is to get a protein powder that works for you, whether that's whey or plant-based, depending on your gut.
What's whey?
It's whey isolate, so it's like a lactose-based, and plant is pea-based, so plant-based or milk-based.
Better for vegan.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
The other one I would suggest for recovery is magnesium, which helps the body and the muscles recover. The other one for looking for strength or maintaining strength is creatine, which helps the muscles grow, also recover. If you're generally not sure, it's pretty easy nowadays to pop a multivitamin. There's so many on the market nowadays. Baroque is really, really great. But if you're unsure about how many micronutrients you're getting in, then the availability of multivitamins are incredible nowadays.
Yeah, and if you want to get really specific, something that I incorporated into my own sort of health regimen was I got myself a blood test that looked at all the micronutrient deficiencies that I had in my body. And a big one for me, and I think that's really common, is vitamin D.
Yeah,
and vitamin D, as we know, is so important for our immune system.
Absolutely.
Because the sun is not enough.
No.
Even though we live in a pretty sunny country,
yes,
we still lack that vitamin D support. So
vitamin C, vitamin D, all your Ks and Es and As, it's all very, very important. I think a lot of females underestimate their iron count as well.
I was going to suggest
so that's super important as well. So if you're feeling lethargic and tired, and you think that your diet's on point, it couldn't hurt to go and get a blood test and see what's actually going on. Yeah,
and just going back to the iron thing, for the women out there, it's very cyclical.
Yes.
So our hormones play a part in how we feel, what kind of foods we should be eating, and also adapting our exercise to accommodate where we are.
Yeah, for sure.
As well, because I think it's also important to talk about that we can't work at 100% every time.
Impossible.
We're like this.
Yeah.
Whereas men are pretty much
there's levels, but men, find it easier than females, for sure. But if you are in that situation or that time, just bring it back 20%. You can still do things and move. You won't feel great, but if you're not doing anything because you feel shit, I guess it's part of life. You have to kind of work through it. But again, energy levels and nutrients with your cycle play a massive impact as well. So you'll crave something else, you'll feel shit on this, but if you'll have a pretty good level of where your micronutrients should be, then things get a bit easier. Yeah,
and even that thing of like, if it is that time of the month that I do have to eat more iron-rich foods, so like beans are a huge one.
Or green things. Green things
pretty
are
much
great.
all
Get the
green
greens
things.
in.
The spinach, the kale.
All the stuff. Spinach, spinach is A1.
Meat, beef is a
Lean
big
beef,
one.
fish is all good.
I've even been told like chicken liver.
Ooh, if you're into that kind of thing.
If you're into that, that is a thing where you can get a lot of iron very quickly. So is there anything else that we've missed, Matt?
With nutrition, no, it's knowing how many calories you should have in a day, your fats, proteins and carbs, and if your micronutrients aren't right, then the supplement could help. A protein supplement, your multivitamins and magnesium really, really help. If you're looking to build some muscle, creatine does help, but if your nutrition is pretty on point, you have to give it time to work. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks, not even 4 weeks. It's a lengthy process.
Yeah, and the key thing is to always start before you get into the job.
Absolutely.
Because once you're in the job, it's easy to kind of ignore those things because you're so focused on the thing that you
Well, it's a less thing you have to worry about. If you're already a pretty good level, your job is to learn your lines, your dance moves, your blocking, those kind of things. So those take priority. Otherwise, I've got to lose 6 kilos for this show. You should be already in a pretty decent level to go, yep, I'm good to go.
Yeah. And it's having that system of what does that look like?
Yeah, what's my daily routine? What's my weekly routine? It's finding out my timetable. And once you've found out your timetable, it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah. I found that definitely when I was in that 6-week challenge that I was able to have a system in place. And yes, starting it is the hardest part because you realise, there's a lot of things that I probably don't need to do or shouldn't be doing, or actually the realisation of, I need more protein in order to show up here better, in order to show up in auditions better, because I'm awake, I'm alert, my immune system is strong, I'm sleeping well.
Sleeping better,
all of those things. Yeah. And so then the hardest part is starting, and then once you get into it, it starts to become a habit.
I think people give up after 7 days because they don't see any differences.
That quick fix, hey?
Yeah, it's like there's no quick fix. It takes literally months and years to build strength and muscle mass, and to get into a routine, a good system, it takes about 3 weeks to find a routine, make a routine. So if you're already in a routine before your show even starts, all you're doing is adding another thing to your routine.
Yeah.
So that rehearsal or that production, whatever it is, it's just another thing you're adding. You're not having to adapt your entire schedule to fit it in. You're already ready to go. So I think for me, when I was doing it, preparation was always the key. Not just my day-to-day stuff, but knowing what I was eating. My breakfast was this, my lunch was this. I had food to go home to, because if you went home and there was no food, the chances are you're going to eat pretty badly.
Yeah, so it is that preparation of getting your groceries in order, not leaving it to the last minute, so that you can get that system in place.
You're, as I said, prepared.
Preparation. What a strange word to be using here in our conversations.
Right.
In order to get the job, preparation.
Or to keep the job.
And to keep the job, preparation. Well, on that note, we'll end it here. So thank you, Matt, for your time today. And if there's anyone out there that is in Sydney and would like to jump into some preparation of strength training or cardio training, where do we go?
112 McAvoy Street, Alexandria. We are a strength and conditioning based studio. We work with group classes.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Kat.